Good morning, blog ladies, and welcome to Simply Stacy, where the joy of the Lord is our strength. Well, babies, I want to talk to you ladies in waiting. You've been waiting on God for your husband. You may have been married and divorced. You may have been in a lot of bad relationships. You may have just got saved. You may have been saved a long time, but you are waiting on God for the man of God. You don't want no foolishness. You really want the man of God. You are the woman of God. You want that thing from God, babies. And I want to encourage you today that don't get weary in your well doing, because if you faint not, you shall reap. You know, while God is working on you, believe me, He's working on your mate. Continue to pray for your mate. If you're not praying for him, pray, because it is warfare. The enemy don't want good divine connections to come about. He don't want true love to happen. And then you walking in the spirit of God. You're both living for God. You're both loving God. You're both putting God first. The enemy is fighting that. He don't want that kind of love to come about. You got to remember that you are in warfare. So you need to be praying and warfaring. That God touches your husband, that He touches his mind, that He gives him clarity, that he begins to seek God's face, that he begins to love God and want to do God's will. And pray a clear path to Him finding you and coming in your presence. Knowing that when you come, that you are His wife. We need to pray and intercede. Whether you're waiting on, you may call him your Boaz, you may call him your king, you may call him your boo, your husband, whatever terminology you are using for that man that's coming in your life, that's going to be your husband, and know that you are his rib. Babies, we need to intercede for them, because men are really truly in warfare in this time. We are too, but they are under some heavy warfare. The enemy is coming at them all kinds of ways, because the enemy don't really want the man to be the man. Men are the foundation, just like the foundation in your house. If the foundation in your house is cracked, your house gonna be lopsided. It's gonna be off. It's just not right. So we need for our foundation, which is going to be our husbands, to be right, to be in tune with God. We need to be interceding for them now. While you're in waiting. And while you are in waiting, ladies, allow God to continue to work on you. Make you that wife that He has designed you to be. To walk out His biblical principles. Carry yourself as a wife now. You're already a wife. Some of you, God over there gave you dreams and visions. He don't spoke to you prophetically. That you're going to get a husband. You need to carry yourself as a wife. You need to walk your life out every day as though you're already married. Don't just look at yourself as I'm single waiting on a husband. Think of yourself as a married woman. How would you carry yourself as a married woman? Would you flirt with other men? Would you dress provocative? Would you be on a hunt for another man? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do these things. So carry yourself as a wife now. Walk in integrity now. Walk out the fruit of the Spirit now. Don't wait until a man of God come along and try to play that part. It needs to be you now. You need to be the part now. Stop seeking man. Continue to seek God. And that's how you get favor to get the man. Seek the man, then you will get the man. Let me say that again. Seek the man, then you will get the man. God already has a husband for you. Some people may be single till the day they die. I don't know what your story is. A lot of women don't want to hear that. A lot of women are not even wives yet, but they want a husband. Do you want to be that wife that a husband desires? Just like the word tell the men of God, treat the wife as Christ treats the church. We supposed to submit and love our husbands. Are you ready to do it God's way? Or do you want to do it the worldly way? If you want to do the things of the world, then you got to get a worldly husband. But if you want to do the things of God, God can entrust in your hands a man of God. You know, you got to sow the right seed into that man. He's going to be your ministry. You got to have patience and long suffering and kindness and gentleness to him. You got to be willing to submit to him. If you can't submit to God, you're not going to be able to submit to the man of God. You know, and submitting ain't hard. Because if you really love somebody and trust them, that's why you got to make sure that you get the man of God. Because it won't be hard. Because he's going to be listening to God. He's not going to lead you astray. But if he's not listening to God, that's why it's a problem for you to submit to the enemy. Because if you submit to a man that's not listening to God, then you're submitting to the enemy. He'll lead you anywhere. But when you get a man of God that's submitted to God, you'll be submit to him. Babies, know that you are already a wife. You're not waiting to become a wife. You know, when you walk down the aisle and sign that paper and say those vows, it's not at that point you become a wife. You are in the process, ladies. Ladies in waiting, you are already in the process of being made a wife. And some of you are already finished the process. But you have to wait on God to finish the preparation with your husband sometime. You know, a lot of times the men are not really in the place where they need to be. You know, and that's why sometimes the wait is so long for us. You know, because the men got all these Jezebels and Delilahs coming after them. Men are visual people. They look at outer appearance and all these different types of things. But God has to work on them so they can begin to understand that they need to see the spirit in you. They need to know God so they'll be able to know you. You know, because if you're walking in flesh and carnality, you are not going to know a person walking in the spirit. And that's the same thing for you women. You will not know a man of God if you're walking in carnality and flesh. You have to walk in the spirit to recognize spirit. So you will not recognize a spirit-filled man if you're walking in flesh. You're not even going to be able to handle him. You're not even going to be able to stand by him and be the woman of God that he needs in his life. So babies, ladies in waiting, continue to allow God to finish the process in you. And if you feel like he has finished the process in you, you could continue to pray in warfare because it's a warfare going on. He don't want spiritual couples to come together because you're going to be a force against his kingdom. That's what it's all about. It's about the work for God. Babies, continue to allow God to work on you so he can flow through you and be that loving, unconditional vessel for the man of God he's going to bring in your life. And continue to warfare for your men. Speak over them. Pray over them. And again, make sure that you know that you are a wife already. Live your life as so. Live yourself as though your husband is already in your life because he is. You're just waiting for the full manifestation. Babies, I love you and so does God. Ladies in waiting, don't get weary in your well-doing because what? In due season, you shall reap. Babies, I love you. So does God. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Mwah. Smooches. Love you, sugar woogles. And God loves you too. Don't forget that. He loves you. And he has not forsaken you. He hears your prayers and he hears your cries. And one day, it'll be your time of your season and they will be answered. Wait your turn. Wait your turn.